Hi guys, Rachel here with the Cackling Moon. This is going to be another episode of Spill the Tarot Tea. Today we're going to be talking about being a hotline psychic or reading on the psychic hotlines, being one of those psychics that you call on the phone, the texting ones, the ones that you chat with online. This is going to be a video all about that. So if you are interested, curious, you want to know, you want to hear some of the good juicy stuff, at least from my perspective, please keep on watching. So my experience with the psychic hotlines has been about, I would say, on and off for at least 2 years. This was probably between, I would say 2016 to 2018 was when I was most heavily on the hotlines. Especially probably the majority of 2017, I was on those hotlines a lot. And so the psychic hotlines, or being a tarot hotline reader, or whatever you want to call it, there's different names, is basically you are reading cards for people who call in. Okay, you're working for a specific company. There's so many of them out there. Probably one of the most popular is that you probably heard of is Keen. So there's Keen. There's I know Oranum or Oranum. I don't even know how to pronounce it. That's kind of more of like a web chat kind of a psychic hotline. But I feel like Keen is probably the one that the most people are familiar with. Then there's like a whole bunch of other ones. But basically I signed up for it because I wanted to kind of just make some extra cash. And at the time, sorry, I just did my nails, so I'm kind of like, I'm like fumbling with them, and I probably shouldn't be doing that because I'm gonna mess them up. But anyways, so I wanted to make some extra cash, and I had, I was already well into doing my readings. I was doing email readings, reading tarot part-time. I was working full-time at libraries. So I was pretty good with my money, but I wanted just more practice with the tarot. And the psychic hotlines and stuff was something that kind of was brought to my attention because I was friends with certain readers that would do that. So there were certain ones that would do more of the chat, like the web ones where you would have like your webcam hooked up. And then I had some friends that were actually doing the texting. The texting stuff kind of started to get a little bit bigger towards like later on. More so I feel like the hotlines were mainly phone, and then it kind of gravitated towards like webcam chats, and then from there it went to like the texting. And I feel like the texting ones is what's really popular right now, at least from what I remember. And so I was really much more comfortable doing the texting, and sometimes I never did the web ones kind of made me nervous because the web chats can be like, you never know who's gonna pop up on video, and a lot of times you would get really like kind of perverted people who would just be like butt naked, like popping up on the chats. And so I was not really comfortable doing those kinds of readings. I never really did any of those. I really stuck to the phones, or I stuck to the texting, the chats that way. And so one of the first ones I signed up for was Keen. I remember I applied for it while I was at work. It was just one of those days where I was bored, and I put in my little application, and it's like I'm sure they do it different now, but so this was like back in 2016, I said. But basically you put up your little application. They ask you some questions about yourself. You submit a photo. You submit kind of like your little bio of what you do and how long you've been a reader and this and that. And the thing is, to get into a lot of these psychic hotline kind of a chats, I'm sure some of them are different, but from what I was told through some of my friends, they really want someone who's more experienced. So I kind of fibbed on my application, I will admit. So I put down that I'd been reading a little bit longer than what I really was reading for. And so anyway, they have usually a representative will contact you, and they'll kind of do a little bit of of an interview, and part of the interview was for you to read for them. So I would have to read for that person, and it's just like a quick little reading. One of them was phone, because that was the keen, like it was through phone. But then there was another one that I applied for where the practice reading was through text. And basically they just want to see how you read. How do you go about your business? How do you do your readings? Do you know what to do? Do you know what to say? And that kind of thing. So at least that's what I think that they're looking for. I don't know if they were generally looking for accuracy. I don't know. I never got feedback on the reading that I did for the person, the interviewer. But that's basically what happened. So then I was accepted, and they, from what I remember, because this was in 2016, you have to download their, they give you like software. There's a software thing you got to download onto your laptop or your desktop computer. So I was using my laptop, and I downloaded the software. It's basically like a chat software. So if you guys remember the good old days of like AOL and like when you would sign on to AOL or AIM, and you would have like that, the messenger thing, that is what this software was like. Now the Keen had there was kind of like sister companies that were like, that kind of like fed off of the big company. I guess that's the best way you can explain it. I can't remember the name of the other one. So I was kind of like off to the side of like one of the sister companies. And I opted for the typing, like the text typing chats for readings, because I didn't want to do video. So that was the software I had to download on my computer. It was very outdated. You could just tell it was very outdated software for even 2016. And it felt like AOL Instant Messenger. It was kind of funny how it brought back those memories of being in the chat rooms. So anyways, I downloaded the software, and you create your whole little bio, your username. You're creating like information about yourself. You got to put information about what kind of a reader you are, what kind of readings you do. You got to come up with your price points. So what I did was I kind of scanned through the other psychics to see what other psychics were putting down as their price points. I don't even remember what I started off at. I think I started off at, I want to say I started cheap. I want to say I did 99 cents a minute. And then I kind of went up a little bit. I think the most I ever charged per minute was $3, and that really didn't last very long. Because obviously if you're charging less, you're going to get more people who are more interested in you. Especially if they were just trying you out, right? So I was doing that for a little bit, the chats, and it's kind of like being in a chat room. So it's just you and one person, and you're texting or typing. And they ask you their question. They're being timed, so there would be like a little time clock telling you like how much longer you have left, depending on how much that person paid for. So sometimes you would be in a chat with someone, and it would only be like 5 minutes, or sometimes someone would pay for like 20 minutes. I very rarely had someone pay for like a half hour. Sometimes they would pay 5 minutes, and then they would put up some more money in, and then you would get like an extra 5 minutes. But I very rarely would have I keep saying text because that's what we do these days. But the typing, the chatting, I would very rarely have my sessions go longer than like 15-20 minutes, because they're being paid the minute. So that's the whole thing. I would have to say my experience with Keen or the sister company, it's like off the top of my tongue, and I can't think of the name, so I apologize. But I would have to say my experience with them was pretty positive, even though even though the amount of like negative reviews that I would get was pretty heavy. I mean, in general, I would have to say that any kind of a hotline psychic, any of those negative reviews, I mean, it was just intense. So that's just the name of the game with that kind of stuff. The other hotlines that I signed up for, I was doing Zodiac Psychics, I think it's Zodiac Psychics. I did them for a little bit, and actually I got kicked off of theirs. Like they fired me. And it was because, and it wasn't even my fault. It was kind of funny how it happened. So when I would sign up for these hotline things, I never used Cackling Moon. I never associated myself with Cackling Moon because these hotline psychics are very, very, very strict about you do not advertise your own personal business on their sites, which is, it's understandable because this is a company, right? They're making money off of you doing readings on behalf of their name. So that's a no-no. Like, you do not advertise yourself. Even if you are a bomb-ass reader of your own business, you don't do that. And so I would never list Cackling Moon. I never even use the surname Cackling Moon, nothing, because I didn't want to like mess with that, right? And they watch, like they watch every single chat that you're in, every single text that you are doing with a client. If that person is paying you because they're getting a portion of your money, they're watching all of those chats. So I was in a chat with a client, and the client recognized my face. The person in the chat, they literally recognized my face from, you know, the picture that I put up on my little bio. And I would go by a different name too. Like, I mean, at the time I was using Rose, but it was kind of like, it was more like Mystical Rose, or like something, you know, something weird like that. I mean, not saying it's weird, but it's just like, you know, very common psychic names. So I was doing that. I was trying to be as not associated with Cackling Moon as possible. And so this person recognized my face from my bio picture, and so they booked the session with me. I was in the chat with them, and like not even a minute into it, they were, you know, they asked their question, and then like they started saying, oh, I know you, like, you're Cackling Moon, and I love watching your videos, and blah, 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 blah. And I'm not even kidding, that like the chat, I didn't even have a chance to respond. The chat was over, and I got a message immediately after saying that I was discontinued from using their from basically I was fired. I don't even know the wording that they used, but it was instant, you guys. Like, that's how I knew they're watching everything. So so that was kind of funny, and it was not fair either, because the way that the hotlines work, I mean, the ones that I was using, basically, as you're making your money, it goes into a little account, right? Kind of like how PayPal, you have like your little PayPal account. So it goes into your account. And some of the hotlines, you're only allowed to pull out increments of money. So if you had less than like $40 in your account, you couldn't pull it out. You had to wait till you had 40 plus, okay? And I don't remember Zodiac Psychics. I don't remember what their limit was, but I had I think it was like $75 in my account, and I hadn't pulled it out yet, and I didn't get it. So when they kicked me out and they discontinued my service with them, I didn't get my money. So that really sucked, because I was only reading for them for maybe barely a week. And so I learned my lesson with that. That kind of sucked, because it was like, it wasn't my fault, you know. It's not my fault that someone recognized my face from my YouTube channel, but that's what happened. So I didn't get my money, and it kind of pissed me off at the time, because it was like, dude, I did work for you guys, you know, and they take out a chunk. So that out of that $75, I had made more than that, but they take out like their good portion. I think it's like close to 50%, maybe even more than that. I know Aranum, at one time, I think they raised their rates where they were taking out like 75% of what you made. And that's like, that leaves you with shit, right? So, I want to say Zodiac Psychics, it was like 40 to 50% that they took. So $75, you know. So anyways, I never got my money back from them, and that was it. So I was kind of sad too, because I kind of liked the way their platform worked. It was way more modern than Keen was, but it didn't work. So anyways, so there was that. And then shortly after I was kicked off of Zodiac Psychic, because I kind of didn't really do anything with the hotlines for a little bit. And then I actually was reading for, I think it was called California Psychics. I think it's like California Psychics or SoCal Psychics. I don't know. It's more of a kind of like a local hotline because here I'm in California. So I did phone readings for that one. And I kind of liked that one too. The phone readings weren't too bad because you're not like face to face with a person. So the phone readings were pretty cool. I would do those. I did that more when I moved out into my apartment because obviously when I was living at home, there was no way I was able to do that. So I was doing that back in 2016, 2017-ish. I was doing the hotlines. And I remember like the best times to do the hotlines was always like after midnight. I know it sounds kind of weird, but it's true because you have people from different demographics on there. And so a lot of times you were getting like phone calls from people who were like, had accents and they were from different countries. And so obviously when it's like daylight for them, it's nighttime for us, right? So I remember when I would do the phone lines, I would be up late, and my hubby at the time when he was working overnights at his other job, and so he wasn't even home. So so it was kind of easy to kind of get away with like doing a couple hotline phone calls with readings, and you know, I was still handling my cackling moon stuff and still going to work, and so it was just a crazy time. And so those were okay. I don't really have too much negative stuff to say. I would have to say the phone lines, I got more positive reviews because I don't know, there's just something about like when you're talking to someone, you're having a conversation. Like I'm very, very good with conversations with people. So I think that I can relate to them a little bit more. And I don't know, I didn't really get negative reviews from my phone readings. But then I signed up for Purple Ocean, and actually still have the app on my phone because every once in a while I like to log into it. So Purple Ocean is a hotline where you do the text. Okay, so Purple Ocean, and I think and Purple Ocean also has like sister accounts, but Purple Ocean was specifically, I liked it because of the text. So basically it's a phone app that you put on your phone, and you have to apply, like I said, you got to apply, blah, blah, blah. You have to do a little mock reading on the person. And then once they put you through, you have your user account. You put a photo, you have to do a video of yourself, like advertising what you do. You have to have your little bio, all of that. You cannot advertise any of your personal stuff. And all of that. So, so Purple Ocean is a little bit more lenient. They're not as strict as Zodiac Psychics was. Because I have on Purple Ocean, I have had a couple people recognize me. But as far as I know, no, I've never gotten penalized for that. So I personally, it doesn't come out of my mouth. If someone else recognizes me, that's one thing. But yeah. So on Purple Ocean, it's an app. And you could choose if you want to have just the texting, you can choose that you're only going to do readings via text. If you want to do the video chat, you can do the FaceTime. If you want to do just phone calls, you could do the phone calls. So that's why I like this app, because you could do like all three and you could pick and choose which ones you want based on like your comfort level. So I'm always open for the texting. And basically when a call comes through, your phone will ring, like and it's a loud ass ring. it'll ring, and then like you take the call, and it's basically a texting. You're texting in a chat with that person, and they pay you by the minute. So I think on Purple Ocean, I think I'm listed right now at $1, maybe $1.99. I don't know. I don't remember. I have to check. And they pay by the minute for your session with you. And then once it's over, you only get a portion of that, amount, because then they take out a percent. I don't know how much percent they take out. It's quite a bit though. It's quite a bit, like 50% probably. And then you could pull your money out in increments though. So I don't think if I have like less than $35, I want to say it's 35, I can't pull it out. But if I make more, then I could pull it out. So right now I currently have like 30 something dollars in there that I can't touch. So that's why I say like every once in a while I'll log into it to do a reading so I could pull the money out. So anyways, I really like Purple Ocean. Like it's not that difficult to use the app. But the negative reviews is something else. So I've had so many negative reviews on Purple Ocean. I've had them on Keen. And basically what happens is when you are reviewed, your rating will drop, especially on Keen. If you get like 1 or 2 negative reviews, your rating will plummet. And if your rating is low, you're not going to be advertised on like the main page when people go look for their psychic readers. You won't be advertised. You'll just have like this, it's like you have this big sign on your forehead that you're fake or you're a fraud. And it's like the worst feeling. And so I've had times where I've had like one of my girlfriends, I've asked her, I'll give you like, I'll PayPal you like $5. Can you just like, I go, here's my username thing. Can you just, book a session with me on Keen or whatever? We'll do a quick little chat and, and basically give me a positive review. So like I would do that. Like I would do that with my friends because, there was just times where it was like, I would get like 1, 2, 3 negative reviews in a row. And, so then my friends would do that. So my asses would be like giving them $5, PayPal $5 so they could put it back in. And, just so that they could give me positive reviews because it was just like, it was so, it was so sad. And I laugh at it because I just think it's so funny. Like, I'm sure Patricia, you would remember doing that. I'm pretty sure you were one of them that I asked to do. So anyways, I've done that. I've been guilty of that because the negative reviews, like I said, they will eat you alive. And so when I say negative reviews, I'm not talking like, I'm talking like people who are looking for a certain answer. Those are the kinds of people, not all of them, but those are the kinds of people that you're going to get on these hotline accounts. When they're getting a reading, they want to hear what they want to hear. They want to hear, they are the people that are booking readings with multiple psychics in a single afternoon, asking the same question, looking for a different answer until they get the answer they want. Those are the types of readers or clients that you're going to get on the hotlines. Every once in a while, it's very rare, but every once in a while you will get a client who really genuinely is looking for guidance. It's very rare, but it happens. And I've actually had repeat clients with those kinds of people when they found me on Keen or whatever platform I was using. So those do exist. There are clients that will utilize the hotlines that are genuinely looking for advice, and they will come back to you with positive reviews, and they will come back to you for future sessions because they trust you. But then you're going to get a whole wave of people who are just looking for the answer that they want to hear. And if you are going to be the reader of like giving your full blown, I'm using my intuition, I'm doing it the right way, I'm giving you a valuable heart-to-heart reading, you're going to get negative reviews. I'm just saying it right now. Unless you choose to be the reader that is going to tell the person what they want to hear, you're going to get negative reviews. And it's kind of one of those things too, you're damned if you do and damned if you don't. Because even if, like, say you do give them what they want to hear, it's not always what they want. Even though they want to hear that, they don't want to hear it. So it's like, it's so annoying. You'll get people who will get angry at you for being too nice. You'll get people who are angry with you for telling them what the last reader told them. And it's like, well, how am I supposed to know what the other reader told you, you know? It's very, very frustrating, and you're going to get people who just they'll come to you with a question that they've already asked 4 or 5 other psychics the same thing. And then if you don't give them what the other psychics told them, you're a fraud, you're fake, you're spam, you are, what's the word? You are scamming. That's their favorite words. You're scamming them. And they will throw you to the toilet. So, it's very difficult to do those hotlines, and I give so much props to the hotline psychics, the ones that like do this every single day, the ones that have been doing this for years. You will have some psychics that this is all they do. That's all that they do, the hotlines, and I give them so much props, and they have so much of my support because it is not easy. It is not easy at all. And I only did it for 2 years, and it was not even like full blown every single day. Like there were times where I would get waves of negative reviews, and I would have to take a fucking break because that was just like too much. I was like, I just couldn't do it. It really made me appreciate my little business at that time. And so I give a lot of props to hotline readers because it is not easy. Now, that being said, not all hotline readers are ethical. So you're also going to get a wave of readers who are going to be the ones that are going to tell you what it is, and they're not going to care if they're reading for you accurately or not. They just want your money kind of stuff. So you do get kind of scammers on there, but then they're not all like that. So at least from my experience, I'm like, I know there's some nice, decent readers out there that are on the hotlines. They were just like me, trying to make an extra buck, you know. But then you get some weird ones. You get some weird characters on those hotlines, because I would kind of look around too, like just to see, oh, what are other readers doing? What are they charging? You know, what kind of advertisements are they doing? Are they doing sales? Blah 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 blah. And I would look, and there's some different there's some different characters on there. It's just different, I guess. And I guess like that's where psychics or readers, tarot readers, that's where we get our bad name, because we just have a bad reputation of being like scams. We get a bad reputation of being, you know, just weird. I don't know. But I feel like it's a lot to do with just the way some of these people put themselves out there. I don't know. I usually, when I would be on the hotlines, I felt like a fish out of water, because to me it was like, I really loved what I do with Cackling Moon. And at the time, you know, I was still, you know, still growing in my business. And so I would tell myself, nah, this is not for me. It's just, some people can do it all the time. I couldn't do it. It made me appreciate Cackling Moon more, but it also made me like, it wanted to push me to do better with Cackling Moon. Because it was like, yeah, it was nice to make it a couple extra bucks, but you're still working under someone else. You're working for someone else's business, you know? And it sucks. It's the same thing when you read for crystal shops. You're getting a percentage of what you make taken out of you before you get your paycheck. So that kind of sucks too, because you're doing a service, but you're also not getting full 100% pay, you know? So I guess I just give a lot of props to those readers, because it's not easy. It is not easy doing the hotlines. Absolutely not. But I will say this, just to kind of tie in my video, because we're already almost half an hour in. If you are looking to practice, right? If you're looking to practice your readings and you want a challenge, if you want a challenge, do the hotlines. I challenge you to do that. One, because you're going to learn how to read in like a split minute. These people are booking you per minute. Like, they're being paid per minute. I mean, they're being charged per minute. So these people come at you blasting you with questions because, one, they know that they're being timed, and two, they already have been asking those same questions to like 5 other readers before they get to you. So they already have like copy and paste. Like I'm telling you, as soon as your chat starts, you like 1 second in, you're boom, you get this like message of, it's like a big long paragraph. They copy and paste it into the chat. So they're ready. So if you're being challenged, if you want to challenge yourself, I should say, with your readings and you want practice, go on the hotlines and do them. Because that's going to challenge you with reading real quick. It's going to challenge you with the way that you deliver your message. The yes, no questions, you will get hella yes, no questions. And then also it's good practice also for trusting your intuition. There were times where I wouldn't even pull the cards. I was just giving them my intuitive reading. They don't know the difference. We're texting, so they don't know. You're not showing them a picture of the cards. The only time they know you're pulling cards is when you're on video. And so I would half the time I wouldn't even pull cards. Sometimes like I would have the deck out and I would have a card or two pulled. But mostly it was coming from my intuition. I was just typing. So sometimes it would feel like literally the reading would feel like you're just giving them advice. Like I was just their friend sitting there on the phone chatting with them, giving them advice. And then I would throw in like, oh yeah, the 2 of Cups or the blah, 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 blah. And it's just kind of like, sometimes you feel like, man, am I being a fake? Am I being a fraud? Like sometimes I would think that too, because it would just get to the point where like I would get so many negative reviews in a single afternoon that I would just want to bullshit just to get a positive. I mean, that's how bad it was. And when it got to that point, I was like, nope, I need to take a break. I need to take a break from these hotlines. And so I would sign off and I wouldn't go on for a couple days. And when I would feel good and ready to battle the demons again, I would go on and see what happens. And not every afternoon would be that way too. Let me just say this. Not every time that I would log into these chats, it wouldn't always be negative. Sometimes I would get positive reviews. Sometimes I would bring up my rating. So let's say I would get like 2 or 3 negatives, so my rating was down. But then if I did 1 or 2 readings where my positive reviews came out, then I would bring myself back up. So it wasn't like always that way. It wasn't always negative, but there will be negative moments. So yeah, I would definitely say if you are a reader and you want to practice, but you want to get paid for it, do the hotlines. I think that it's, I wouldn't say it has to be like, not every reader has to do this, but I would say that every reader should experience the hotlines just to see what they're like. Because some of you guys are going to like it. Some of you are going to hate it, but it is good practice. I will say that it's good practice. But yeah, so that's basically everything that I wanted to talk about reading on the hotlines. From the top of my head, I mean, I have horror stories with it too, like people just being absolutely negative, people being absolutely rude. But it's been a while that I can't remember the exact details, and I feel bad like talking too much about a client situation because I like to keep those confidential, even if they did chew my ass out, but I do remember asking paying my friends, hey, let me give you $5. Can you go and give me a positive review? Like I did that so many times. So, yeah, but I just wanted to share with you guys a little bit about the hotlines and my experience with it. And it's a whole nother world. It's a whole different experience, but I would be curious to know, have any of you guys read on the hotlines? What was your experience? Did you like it? Would you ever do it? Give me your stories. Tell me your stories or your horror stories of your experience on the hotlines. Let me know in the comments below. But anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and head out. I need to drink more water, and I have like a little canker sore that's like healing. It's starting to go away, but it's still there. It's like on the inside, and it fucking hurts. So when I talk too much, it starts to throb. All right, you guys. So I will talk to you later. I love you, and tell me your stories. Tell me your horror stories. Were you a reader on the hotlines, or did you have a reading done on the hotlines? Let me know. Love you guys. Bye.